So when you stand and deliver that State of the Union address, in no part of your mind or brain can you imagine Donald Trump standing up one day and delivering a State of the Union address?
Well, I can imagine it in a Saturday night skit.
On November the 9th, 2016, Donald Trump claimed his place as America's 45th president, in a stunning win that would be one of the biggest upsets in US political history. No one believed that a political outsider like Trump could be elected president, and no one took him seriously right up to the election night that sealed his truly historic victory and changed the face of American politics. But Trump's run for president may never have happened if it weren't for the words that Barack Obama said in a 5-minute routine at a dinner just 5 years before. Although this event effectively changed the course of American history, it seems like only a few people, aside from some hilarious YouTube viewers, know about the decisive night that Trump resolved to run for president. Trump had teased the idea of running for president in almost every election since 1988.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country, and if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally.
And Trump made so many audacious statements about his White House aspirations over the years that people just didn't take him seriously as a political candidate.
You have a vice presidential candidate in mind?
Oprah. I love Oprah. Oprah would always be my first choice.
But the turning point in his journey was when Trump was invited to the White House Correspondents' Dinner on April the 30th, 2011, hosted by then-President Barack Obama. A dinner where Trump would face such a bitter public humiliation that would be a catalyst in his decision to finally run for president of the United States. In the weeks running up to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, Trump was still a wildly popular celebrity who was making a ton of money off the back of the 11th season of his hugely successful reality TV show, The Celebrity Apprentice. However, in March 2011, Trump was becoming more than just a television star. He was also becoming a prominent figure in fanning the flame of the so-called birther controversy. Trump started discussing his real doubts about whether Obama had a US birth certificate and whether his presidency was therefore legitimate.
But what about this? You recently said about President Obama, I'm going to quote you, he grew up and nobody knew him. Nobody knows who he is until later in his life. The whole thing is very strange.
Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would.
Trump regularly and publicly questioned where Obama was born and even claimed that he was sending a team of private investigators to Hawaii to learn the truth, promising to donate $5 million to charity if anyone could convince him that the president was born on US soil.
Why is this important to you?
Because if you are going to be the president of the United States, you have to be born in this country. And there is a doubt. If he wasn't born in this country, it's one of the great scams of all time.
Absolutely.
But despite the tensions he was stoking about President Obama, Trump was still invited to the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner a month later in April by the Washington Post editor Lally Weymouth. As a huge star, Trump was a natural attendee for the dinner, which had become one of the most exclusive and glitzy political events of the year, thanks chiefly to the presence of the US president. At the dinner, it was a tradition that the president would give a comedic speech or roast, sometimes described as a State of the Union address of jokes. Trump arrived at the glittering event with his wife Melania and seemed happy initially.
I got to talk to Donald as we were going to our seats, and he was in just such a great mood, and he was very jovial.
He was seen being friendly with actress Scarlett Johansson, and Trump told reporters he was fine with anything that would make him the butt of jokes. Sure, he told them, I'm fine with this stuff. But by the time Obama got up to do his annual speech at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the now raucous crowd at Washington elites had been drinking for 3 hours. We can only assume that Trump, who was teetotal, was stone cold sober. And when Obama took the microphone, he proceeded to savagely mock Trump, and the crowd went crazy for it. In fact, as he walked onto the stage, a photograph of Obama's US birth certificate pulsated on the screen behind the president, an image clearly meant to silence Trump. For the first half of his speech, which was written by White House speechwriters John Lovett and Jon Favreau, with the help of none other than Judd Apatow, the writer of films like Knocked Up and The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Obama threw one-liners at VIPs in the audience. However, about 9.5 minutes into his speech, Obama turned his focus to Trump and unleashed a brutal takedown of the reality TV star.
Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac?
Obama then proceeded to mock Trump's qualifications and sarcastically praise his skills as host of The Celebrity Apprentice.
All kidding aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night.
Obama then openly scoffed at the notion of Trump as president, even pointing to a mock-up picture of what the White House would look like if Trump ever became president.
Say what you will about Mr. Trump, he certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
Throughout Obama's speech, the camera continued to cut to Trump in the audience. And while it was customary for celebrities to fake looking amused at a roast, Trump, with his lips pursed and eyes staring ahead, could not hide his fury. Clearly unable to see the funny side of Obama's scathing remarks, Trump fiercely glared at the president on stage. The merciless mocking of Trump did not end with Obama either. Comedian Seth Meyers would take the stage next to further lampoon the idea of Trump as president.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Meyers even mercilessly mocked Trump's hairdo, comparing it to a fox.
Donald Trump often appears on Fox, which is ironic because a fox often appears on Donald Trump's head.
As the audience roared with laughter, Trump could be seen fuming in the audience. Overwhelmed and traumatized by the sense of public ridicule, Trump is reported to have made a speedy exit as soon as the dinner wound to a close. Trump was left humiliated by Obama's 5-minute routine that night. But Obama's words also became a motivating moment in Trump's journey to the White House. Trump left that dinner determined to run for president and get revenge on everyone who had doubted him. Journalists and the media have since reflected on that fateful night in America's history. Years later, the New York Times would write that evening of public abasement, rather than sending Trump away, accelerated his ferocious efforts to gain stature within the political world. And it captured the degree to which Trump's campaign is driven by a deep yearning, sometimes obscured by his bluster and bragging, a desire to be taken seriously. Obama's 5-minute takedown spurred Trump's run for the presidency. However, some have questioned why Trump, if he was so vengeful after that dinner, didn't run in the 2012 presidential election. Instead, he waited until 2016. On the podcast The Rest is Politics US, Trump's former White House communications director and campaign fundraiser, Anthony Scaramucci, says it was because Trump was still on contract with NBC for The Celebrity Apprentice. So instead, in 2012, Trump decided to endorse Republican nominee Mitt Romney in the presidential race. But when Romney lost on election night, Anthony Scaramucci remembers how Trump immediately regretted his decision not to run in 2012.
It is election night. We're in Boston at the campaign headquarters of
2012.
Mitt Romney. 2012. I've worked for Mitt Romney. I'm there. Donald Trump walks in with Michael Cohen. He's got that double-breasted jacket that he likes wearing. He walks in. We're watching the results. Romney's getting creamed by Obama. Trump is furious. He mutters, "This is ridiculous. I should have ran."
And sure enough, when February 2015 came along, Trump declined to renew his contract for The Celebrity Apprentice. And on June 16, 2015, Trump came down a golden escalator at Trump Tower in a now iconic moment and announced his candidacy for President of the United States. Even after his announcement in Trump Tower, journalists, pundits, political figures, and even trusted polls would continue to underestimate Trump's chances as president. In fact, no one actually believed Trump could be president up until the final hours of election night.
The scene here is so different than it was a few hours ago when people were happy and relaxed. There are people who are just in shock, and they are just stunned at the idea that they were completely sure they were coming to this event to celebrate Hillary Clinton becoming the first female president, and now they are confronting the reality that they could be walking out of here perhaps expecting that Donald Trump is going to become president.
While Obama had reflected on that night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in his 2020 memoir, A Promised Land, he has never taken responsibility for the fact that his words effectively created Trump. Despite the fact that historians have widely recognized that 5-minute routine as a catalyst toward Trump's presidency, Obama, perhaps keen to protect his legacy, has dismissed this narrative and claimed his words didn't matter. Even Obama's speechwriter Judd Apatow refuses to feel any guilt over the roast being instrumental in Trump's decision to run for president.
I've got enough guilt as a Jew. I don't need to be responsible for Trump.
Regardless, Obama's responsibility seems undeniable. But the only person who really knows why he decided to run for president is Trump himself. And Trump has flat out denied that he was fueled by Obama's roast that night in 2011. It's such a false narrative, Trump said. I had a phenomenal time. I had a great evening. However, the next fact might be revealing. Beginning with Calvin Coolidge in 1924, every US president has attended at least one White House Correspondents' Dinner. Every US president, that is, besides Donald Trump.
Mr. President, are you going to the Correspondents' Dinner or are you going to hold a rally?
I'm going to hold a rally.
Instead of the Correspondents' Dinner?
Yeah, because the dinner is so boring and so negative.
During his 4-year presidency, Trump skipped every single annual White House Correspondents' Dinner.